Well, in the first place, it's because as an artist, just having seen this space in the past and noticed how it's been used over the number of triennials that have happened here in Brisbane, I felt that I could perhaps try creating something that would use the space in a creative way and fill it and give it real strength to the volume of the space, and open up that space to people who are visiting the exhibition. So that was my first aim, was to, as an artist, to utilise this incredible space that we have here. Well, one of the first effects I want to create, because I know that people come in, I'm very aware of the actual spatial relationship within this, within the gallery. As you come in, you come down the escalators, you will see not only this body of water, but suddenly another rising up on a bridge that gives people what in American terms people talk about as being the wow effect. And also to create the sense of surprise by building within an enclosed space, a bridge that one is used to seeing, of course, in an open space, and over a body of water that theoretically is to be uncluttered by any form of building, to use that body of water within an open, a closed space, a building or a structure from an open space. I was trying to create this type of quadruple surprise effect. And of course, beyond that, one sort of has to appreciate as you're coming down the escalator, you're seeing the bridge rising up in front of you, so that you actually, while you're going lower, the bridge is rising up and creating the effect not only of a crossing over, but also creating for you another shore to which there's a possibility of movement towards and over. So I was very much aiming at this type of sort of visceral effect. Another aim, of course, is that once you've been teased into looking at the bridge, you're teased into confronting it and then crossing it, because you can't see the other side. It's the natural temptation that anybody would have to try and cross the bridge. However, you can't see what's on the other side of the bridge, so it's only when you actually cross over the hump of the bridge you might well discover that somebody's walking at you from the opposite direction. And also, therefore, by creating this effect of encouraging someone to cross over the bridge, my idea is, of course, to hope that there are people crossing from the other side, so that when you both reach the top of the hump of the bridge, you'll meet perhaps a stranger, perhaps somebody you know, and you will be actually engaging in an exchange about the actual work you're looking at and physically on, while you're engaged with the work in a very material way. Another reason I made the bridge the width that it is at the moment is that I wanted to force people not to be able to walk by each other without any physical contact, but to actually be forced to actually negotiate a passage between each other. They actually have to try and walk by each other while engaging in some form of social exchange. And that's another way of sort of adding to the intimacy of the environment and the exchange possible on the bridge. And to add to this effect, I decided to also put in a laser trigger device, that when you reach nearly the top of the hump of the bridge, it releases water, a fairly fine mist of rain, and so that will cause you, once you see the water falling, you'll be caused as a wayfarer over the bridge to think, will you continue your trip over it because you might get very wet, or should you just retreat and go back? So it just adds a dimension of negotiation and communication with the work itself. And again, by creating this effect of the rain, but also the narrowness of the bridge, plus the fact that the bridge is a moving, nearly living object, it's a very organic work, it creates the sense that you're actually moving on the bridge and that the bridge isn't entirely steady. So it adds to creates a series of uncertainties in you that I think adds to the effect of engagement with the work as a whole. And another effect, of course, that's sort of more conceptual is that because you're walking across a body of water, this large pond, you'll feel as the water is falling down on you from the roof, that water is actually in a circulation. And my aim was, of course, to sort of playing on the whole concept of feng shui, or geomancy. In Chinese concept, the movement of water through air and in a circular engagement, a circular motion, enlivens the air and enlivens the space in which it's moving. So it brings a further element of life and circularity to the whole process of the bridge crossing. And also, in creating this work, I was trying to negotiate with issues related to both space and time. In terms of time, we are, as we know, at the very end of our century as well as the end of the millennium. And so this bridge was created as literally a bridging device over time as we face a new beginning or an old end. And the bridge is sort of acting as a conceptual link between past and future, and therefore relating to the theme of the exhibition, Beyond the Future. At the same time, in terms of its spatial dimension, the placement of this bridge, Australia is a country that is placed between East and West, between Asia and Europe, America, and this bridge is an Asian-like bridge built in this very particular Australian environment. And I was saying that through creating such a work, I'm reflecting on the very spatial dimension of Australia as a nation. And that's why, I mean, that's bringing us back to the actual construction and the detailing of the bridge itself. It's because of that sense of tension in Australia's geographical position between the massive masses of Asia, Europe, America, and also in terms of our spatial, our temporal position in the world at this moment. But I wanted to create a work that gives you a sense both of sturdiness but also uncertainty. There's a tension in the crossing because there's a tension in its very structure itself. It is not a broad, safe, solid bridge, but rather one that is organic, uncertain. There's a sense of tension and movement in it that adds to, or rather reflects the types of tensions I think one experiences in the spatial and temporal dimension we're in Australia now. And of course, wanting to, by creating this work, I'm also trying to aim at a number of layers of interpretation, that I'm creating a hypothesis. It allows people to imagine that Australia is positioned between these other powers or other geopolitical terrains, Asia, Europe, America, or is it? And it is, after all, a hypothesis, a created work in a gallery that is steady, firm, and unmoving, yet it tries to create a tension within the space in which it's placed. So I've been trying to work on a number of conceptual as well as physical dimensions and levels at the same time. And so, I'm interested in creating a sense of anxiety and doubt. And that perhaps also relates to the very nature of the Asia-Pacific Triangle itself, which is it plays a role in bridging things and connecting things. What that role really is and how it will proceed in the future is one that can't easily be predicted or be determined or defined in simple terms. And so I want to create a work that reflects that sense of possibility, fragility, strength and movability, malleability. And this whole sort of interrogation I've just been articulating brings me back to the very nature of the type of work I'm interested in, which is creating works that play on tension and interrogate and investigate those tensions. If we're certain about the works we're doing, then why do we bother to even be artistic or create artistic works? My aim is not to create some simple, fixed, plastic model of reality, but rather engage with reality in a way that brings out or teases out the tensions within it.